We had for a while. Chris Hipkins.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair. Mr Chair, I just want to refer back to what Michael Woodhouse was saying, and I think one of the key things that he's missing about the Employment Relations Act 2000, the Principal Act being amended by this bill being put forward by Tauhenari, is the whole principle behind the Employment Relations Act 2000 is one of good faith. And that is something that I think the National Party have always struggled to come to terms with what good faith actually means. And I think that one of the things that this bill does is it undermines that notion. It says that unions can't be trusted, which of course is one of the key messages that regularly comes out of the national government when it comes to dealing with unions, that the unions can't be trusted. And therefore the good faith provisions don't mean anything. Well, actually, I think good faith provisions do mean something, and I think that the unions, by and large, when it comes to dealing with secret ballots, do act in a way that exhibits good faith. They do act in a manner that is transparent. They do act in a manner that is accountable. And I think that there is absolutely no need for this bill whatsoever. And in fact, there are questions that will be raised later in the debate about whether this bill goes wide enough, whether in fact if we're going to insist on this provision of secret ballots, why should the employers not have to have a secret ballot of their shareholders, for example. That's something that we'll canvass later on in the debate. But, you know, ultimately, in a good faith environment, this bill is totally unnecessary. In an environment where there is goodwill and good faith between the employers and the employees, it's unnecessary. And what this bill does is undermine it. It undermines that central principle behind the Employment Relations Act 2000. It doesn't do some of the things that would be necessary were this bill necessary and to be effective. One of the things it would do, for example, is guarantee unions the right to access in the workplace so that they could conduct the secret ballot. Under this bill, where secret ballots are required, oh my goodness, under this bill, where secret ballots are required, oh goodness me, I think we've just stepped off the reservation now, but under this bill where secret ballots are required, there's no guarantee that unions are in fact going to have access to the workplace. Now, I would really like the member in the chair, Sandra Gowdy, to take a call and espouse what in her mind are the central principles behind the Employment Relations Act 2000, the principal act that this bill is amending, because I think that the members all over the House, in fact people all over the country, would love to hear Sandra Gowdy's opinions on the Employment Relations Act 2000, because we know that Sandra Gowdy embodies the views of the National Party when it comes to workers' rights, and so she is absolutely dedicated to the National Party cause, and I would like to see her take the next call and explain to us how she believes that this bill furthers the principles of the Employment Relations Act 2000. In fact, I'll happily go and get her a copy of the Act if she would. I think that it would require more than a copy of the Act, actually, to get Sandra Gowdy to produce something coherent. It would, in fact, require an act of divine intervention. I think it would require an act of divine intervention to get a coherent call from Sandra Gowdy. But we live in hope. We're optimists. We're optimists on this side of the House. And in fact, I can see Sandra Gowdy's got a copy of the bill. She's prepping up there. That's a start. There's always hope. And I would very much like to hear what Sandra Gowdy has to say on this. If it's as lively as the contribution we had from the member in charge, Tauhenari, earlier on, it will be a sight to see. And I think that we'd very much like to hear what they have to say about that. Because actually what we know is that this is the first of many amendments to the Principal Act that will be coming if the national government get re-elected. Of course, they're not going to tell anybody what it will be. It'll just be one of those things. John Key's gone out there and said, oh, well, we want to make more changes. And even if we're re-elected, we'll make more changes. Won't say what they are. But what they'll do is they'll turn around after the election and they'll say, oh, well, we've got a mandate now. We've been re-elected. We said before the election that we were going to change it. Therefore, they've kicked the tyres, and therefore they're going to make all of these extra changes to the Employment Relations Act. This is the first of many. I am absolutely devastated that Sandra Gowdy's leaving the chair and is not going to have the opportunity to contribute, although she could still take a call from her chair, from her seat up there, and espouse to us why she believes that these changes to the Principal Act, the Employment Relations Act 2000, are actually necessary. But coming back to the point that I was raising before, Mr. Chair.
Sandra Gowdy.
Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Do you know